You ever feel like you're just trapped by your own thoughts? Kind of stuck in a loop of anxiety or worry? Well, today, we're going to dive into a really powerful path to inner peace. It's all about understanding our true, unchanging self. That core part of you that's always there, underneath all the noise of daily life.
So let's kick things off with this incredible image from the 15th century mystic poet Kabir. The monkey has his fistful of sweets and won't let it go. It's such a powerful metaphor, right? It's all about how our own minds can hold us hostage, clinging so tightly to desires and ideas that in the end are the very things that cause us to suffer.
So, this really brings up a question for you, for all of us. Let's just take a second to think about it. What are the fistfuls of sweets you're clinging to? Maybe it's a certain career title or that perfect image you're trying to keep up online. Or maybe it's just those worries about the future that you just can't seem to let go of. Really thinking about this? That's the first step to finding some real freedom.
Okay, so this gets us right to the heart of the problem, and it's a big one. So often, our suffering isn't really caused by what's happening out there in the world. Nope, it's caused by our own mind's habit of mistaking its own reflections for reality. It's almost like being lost in a crazy hall of mirrors.
And Kabir just nails it with this line. The self forgets itself. So simple, but wow, so profound. This is it. This is the root of so much of our anxiety. We forget who we really are. We start thinking we are our job title, or we are our fleeting emotions, or we are our random thoughts. And when we do that, we completely lose touch with that permanent, steady self that's always there underneath. So to really drive this point home, Kabir uses these amazing animal metaphors. They're just brilliant. First up, he talks about a frantic dog. Picture this, it's in a temple made of glass, and it's just barking like crazy at its own reflection, over and over. That's our mind, right? In a constant battle with itself, creating its own enemies and fighting shadows that aren't even real.
Next, we've got the lion. Imagine a powerful lion seeing its own reflection in a well. It thinks it's a rival, right? So it leaps in to attack. And of course, that's the end of the lion. This is us when we aggressively chase illusions. Things like status or getting everyone's approval. We're pursuing things that have no real substance, just like that reflection.
And then there's the elephant. This one's powerful. The elephant gets all agitated and attacks a big crystal boulder, shattering its own tusks. Why? Because it completely misread the situation. That's us when we fight against these self-created barriers. We waste all this energy fighting obstacles that are really just reflections of our own mind. Which brings us right back to where we started, with our monkey. Remember? His fist is full of sweets, but it's stuck inside a narrow jar. All he has to do to get free is let go of the sweets, but his desire is just too strong, so he stays trapped. This is us. It's our deep, deep attachment to our ideas, our stuff, our identities, the very things that are keeping us from being free. So when you put them all together, Kabir's little animal kingdom shows us these four big mental traps. First, we get our identity all mixed up with our temporary roles. Second, our minds are just constantly roaming, never still. Third, we cling like crazy to our desires. And fourth, we're so attached to our ego and our possessions. You see? These are literally the bars of the cage we build for ourselves.
All right, so our first guide on this journey is Kabir himself. He was this amazing 15th century weaver poet, and he was known for his super sharp, no-nonsense wisdom. You could say his approach is ruthless, but in the most compassionate way possible. Think of him like a brilliant doctor who tells you exactly what's wrong. No sugarcoating, because that's the only way you're going to get better. He just forces us to see the illusion for exactly what it is.
And this leads to Kabir's central, most challenging question. He says, "Parrot on a pole, who has caught you?" We all feel like that parrot sometimes, right? Trapped by our job, our relationships, our circumstances. But Kabir flips it on us and says, hold on, who's really holding the rope? And his big point is that the answer isn't out there somewhere. It's inside us. Okay, so if Kabir is the one who brilliantly exposes the problem, our next guide, Mirabai, offers the solution. And she comes at it from the heart. She was a 16th century princess who became a saint, and her path is all about something called bhakti. It's a path of loving devotion that helps redirect all that mental energy away from the illusions and towards something real and lasting.
So what is bhakti really? Well, it's not just about believing something. It's an active, ongoing practice. It's about consistently and, with a sense of love and focus, bringing your mind back to your true, unchanging nature. It's a path of sincere surrender, of just letting go of the ego's death grip on everything.
And here's a really crucial distinction that helps explain this. Let's talk about an event versus an incident. Okay, so let's say you have an argument with your partner. That's an event. It's just something that happened. But it turns into an incident the second we load it up with I-ness and minus. You made me feel this way, or my feelings are so hurt. The ego jumps in and creates suffering by making it a personal story. This practice of devotion helps us just see the event for what it is, without getting all tangled up in the drama.
Now, for our third and final guide, the 17th century poet saint Tukaram. He really adds the final piece to this whole puzzle. His teaching is simple but revolutionary. Stop the frantic, endless search for peace and happiness out there in the world. Instead, he tells us to turn our attention inward.
And his words are just this gentle but really firm reminder. He asks, "O mind, why do you roam outside? The lotus feet are the real home." I mean, our minds are just conditioned to roam, aren't they? Always looking for the next thing, the next distraction. But Tukaram shows us that our real home, that place of true peace, it's not out there. It's already inside us. We just have to learn to guide our restless mind back to it.
So, when you put them all together, these three masters give us one complete, beautiful path. You've got Kabir, who gives us the sharp thinking to see what's false. Then Mira offers the practice of devotion to help us focus on what's real. And finally, Tukaram teaches us to bring that practice inside, to find that reality within ourselves. It's like a journey from the head to the heart, and finally, right into our very core.
Okay, so this is all great, right? Fascinating philosophy, but the big question is, how do we actually use this stuff in our busy, chaotic, modern lives? Let's break it down into some real, concrete steps you can actually take.
Really, the daily practice boils down to a super simple three-step cycle. First, you expose distractions. That just means noticing when you're getting caught up in an illusion, just like Kabir's animals. Step 2, practice remembrance. The second you notice, you gently bring your mind back to your true center, just like Mira taught. And third, redirect within. When your mind starts to wander off again, and it will, you just guide it back home, like Tukaram said. And listen, this isn't a one-and-done kind of thing. It's a continuous moment-by-moment practice.
And here's a really powerful tool to help you with that practice. It's a concept called yajna, which basically means a sacred offering. What this means is you can transform even the most boring, mundane activities, I'm talking washing the dishes, answering emails, chatting with a coworker, you can turn them into a form of meditation. How? By mentally offering up each action to your higher self. When you do that, you detach from the ego's need for results or praise. You're not the doer anymore, you're just the witness.
So, when we start to put all these pieces together, when we actually practice this, it leads to this incredibly profound and liberating shift in perspective. It completely changes our fundamental understanding of who we think we are and how we relate to the world around us.
Think of it like this. All the dramas of your life, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the wins, the losses, all the different hats you wear, they're all just scenes in a movie. They show up on screen, they feel so real and so important for a little while, and then they're gone.
But here's the kicker. You are not the movie. You are the screen. Your true, imperishable self is that silent, unchanging awareness that the whole movie of your life plays out on. The screen isn't burned by the fire in the movie, right? It isn't heartbroken by the tragedy. It's never changed by any of the drama. It's just the constant, untouched witness to it all.
And so that really leaves us with one last powerful question to ask ourselves. In your day-to-day life, where is your attention? Are you completely lost in the drama of the movie, just getting tossed around by every single plot twist? Or can you start, even just for a moment here and there, to rest in that awareness of yourself as the screen, calm, steady, and ultimately forever free?